Hi, students. So we're ready for part 2. Just to review, when we do cause and effect, cause sentences always come before effect sentences, okay? You can't have the effect first. You have to have the cause and then the effect. So let's look at, just to review, cause for number 1, the mountains isolated lowland Greek communities. That is right here, the mountains isolated lowland communities. So the effect is in the next sentence. The effect is, because of these lowland communities being isolated, people were fiercely independent in Greece. Those city-states were very independent from each other, okay? So the cause sentence has to come first before the effect. So when we're looking at these, if the effect sentence is only listed, when we come to this effect sentence, we know we have to back up and read the previous sentence to get the cause sentence, okay? I'm telling you this because I'd like you to try to be a little bit more independent when we continue. We're going to be on page 302, please. Today we're reading 302 to 303. And this video is slight support. Early Greek history. The Greeks were influenced by an early civilization, the Minoans. Okay, Minoans, that was one of our words here. Minoans influenced the civilization of the Mycenaeans on the mainland. The Minoan culture developed on Crete, an island south of mainland Greece, if you recall from our map. It spread across the Aegean Islands and influenced mainland Greece around 2000 BCE. Minoan civilization. Minoan civilization was highly advanced. The Minoans had a writing system, built huge stone palaces with running water like the one at Knossos. They traded goods throughout the Mediterranean. Around 1450 BCE, Minoan palaces and towns were mysteriously destroyed. Most historians believe that mainland Greeks were responsible. The Minoans influenced a civilization that developed among Greek speakers on mainland Greece. Okay, so there's our sentence. The Minoans influenced the civilization of the Mycenaeans on the mainland. So what was the cause? If this is our effect, we have to back up and find the cause. Why would the Minoans have impacted the Mycenaeans? Why did the Minoans influence the Mycenaeans? If this is our sentence, you need to back up in here to locate it. Okay? Pause if you need to. The civilization known as Mycenaean developed around 1600 BCE. Each Mycenaean town was governed by a monarchy, a government headed by a king. Mycenaean rulers lived in stone fortresses on hilltops overlooking their towns. The Mycenaeans made fine bronze weapons and pottery. They traded these goods for copper, ivory, and luxury goods from other lands. Mycenaeans sometimes raided other peoples and one another for gold and other goods. Eventually, the Mycenaean kingdoms grew weak. Then, around 1100 BCE, this civilization was destroyed by the newcomers from the north known as Dorians. Oh, Dorians, they created the Doric columns. Does anybody remember which polis, which city-state the Dorians live in? Dorians? Page 303. Dark Age. With the fall of the Mycenaeans, Greek culture declined. People lost the ability to read and write. The following period, which lasted roughly from 1100 to 750 BCE, has been called a Dark Age. During these centuries, mainland Greeks migrated across the Aegean, settling the islands and the west coast of Asia Minor, an area that became known as Ionia. So we use the phrase Asia Minor. Historically, they use the phrase Ionia. Okay, and this is our effect sentence. Greece enters a dark age, and mainland Greeks migrate across the Aegean. So if we have the effect, you need to go back and find the cause. Why did Greece enter a dark age and migrate across the Aegean? What was that? What happened? What caused the dark age? Okay? The Trojan War. They told and sang, the Greeks in Ionia never forgot the heroic age of the Mycenaeans. They told and sang stories of the world that existed before the Dark Age. One of these stories was about the Trojan War. The Trojan War. The legend of the Trojan War, warriors from Mycenaean kingdoms sailed across the Aegean to attack Troy, a city in Asia Minor. The 10-year-long conflict ended when the Greeks tricked the Trojans into accepting a gift of a large wooden horse. Greeks hiding in the horse crept out and opened the city gates. The Greek army entered and burned Troy to the ground. For centuries, the stories of the Trojan War were recited or sung as the Greeks could no longer read or write. Then, in the 700s BC, the Greeks developed an alphabet based on the Phoenician alphabet. According to tradition, a poet named Homer shaped the stories of the Trojan War into a long epic poem, the Iliad. The poem was eventually written down. The Iliad tells of events during the war, but stops before the Greeks' eventual victory. Homer's Odyssey is another epic poem which describes the adventures of the hero Odysseus on his journey home after the war. The Iliad and the Odyssey shaped Greek culture. Students learned the verses by heart. The values expressed in these poems became part of Greek identity. One of those values was courage. In the Iliad, the warrior Achilles speaks to his troops before battle. Every man make up his mind to fight and move on his enemy. Strong as I am, it's hard for me to face so many men and fight with all at once. And yet I will. That's Homer from the Iliad. The ancient Greeks tried to live up to the ideals of bravery, strength, and honor expressed in Homer's work. Okay, and that is our effect for number 6. The Greeks try to live up to the ideals of bravery, honor expressed in these stories. So if that's the effect, what is the cause? If this is the effect down here, what is the cause? You need to go up above it. What was the cause? Why do the Greeks try to live up to the ideals of bravery, strength, and honor? When you have that, we're going to pause.